Hi everyone, thanks again for joining us. So excited for today, like literally so excited. We have Alan McGee on the show.
Hey Helen.
Thank you so much for coming in. You won't like me saying this, but I'm so in awe of it because I'm a massive Oasis fan and you know, it's just great to have you here. And
Brilliant.
I'm basically going to let you just talk because I want to know everything that you have to say.
We'll jump in at different points.
I will do. Can you start with, like, tell us about younger Alan? Where did you start?
Well,
how did it all begin?
I started, I was just a music fan, Helen, and my background's working class Glasgow, 60s, grew up, and it kind of got to maybe I was about 10, and my family were pretty poor, and I asked for pocket money, and I couldn't get the pocket money. So I started doing this, there was a paper in the South Side called the South Side News, and it was paid for by advertising. So I started working for that on a Saturday morning, and it was 10 pence a paper, and you could keep six pence here, and 4 pence was supposed to go back to the South Side News. So I'd done that for a few weeks, and then I realised that if you got there at 5:30 in the morning, you could rob you could rob up 200 papers and then sell them and just keep the money. So when I was 10 or 11, I started making, this is 1971, 72.
That's crafty.
I started making about 20 quid a week.
Right.
And from that, I started buying Bowie records and T-Rex records and Slade records. And that's how I got a record collection. And my knowledge, I never really went to school. I got 1 level, I was rubbish at school. But I studied the back sleeves of the records, I played them, and I got, by the time I was 15, you know, I was a little total geek, knowledgeable kid on music, you know what I mean? Like, to this day, you know, I know where Ziggy Stardust was made. It was, you know what I mean? You know, it was in Basin Street, and who produced Tony Visconti, and who played bass in the Spiders from Mars.
You were just fixated in it from day one.
That was my world, and that was. And then when I got to the end of 15, punk happened, and I went into a record shop when I was buying records and stuff like that, and Johnny Rotten was having an epileptic fit, you know, in a blue bondage suit, and I went, God, I was like, this is what I'm into. I went and got my pal Bobby Gillespie, who's the singer in the Primal Scream, and we became punks. We were the first punks in Glasgow. Me, Bobby. There was about 3 or 4 other people that were punks. There was the Simple Minds boys, Jim Kerr and Charlie Burchill. They were in Tory Glen. We were in Mount Florida. Ian Donaldson was in Govan, and he was in H2O. And Jake Black, who's just died, was in Alabama 3. And that was the first punks in Glasgow. And then from that, you know, I bought a bass, was in little bands, and it just...
So you were in bands yourself as well?
Yeah, when I was a kid, you know. Yeah. You know, I'm old now, I'm 59, but when I was like 17, 16, I was in punk bands, yeah.
Okay. So from that, how did everything else come about? Well, talk us through each stage.
Yeah. Well, I got to about 18 or 19, and my pal, Andrew Innes, who's also in Primal Scream, he said to me, we were in a band together, and he went, let's go to London, McGee, and become pop stars. And I was like, because I just wanted to be in a band, so I was like, I'll go. And we went down to London, and I had 5 quid in my pocket and a bass guitar. And we got to London, and then I slept rough for the first 10 nights. I was in Covent Garden on the roof of Boots the Chemist, and it was 80 degrees because it was June 1980. So I didn't really feel homeless, although we were effectively, we were homeless. And then what happened was that we were in a pub about 10 days into it, and I was thinking, I'm going to have to go home. Because nobody really comes to London and actually makes it work, you know. Everybody ends up having to go back to Glasgow back in the 80s. And there was an amazing looking girl with pink hair, and she's gorgeous. And I said, oh, I think I was trying to kind of chat her up, try and get where I was a wee kind of chancer. Yeah. But she liked me and everything. She went, you can come back, but not for that sort of vibe, but you can come back and you can stay at the squat if you're struggling. And I went, what do you mean? And then I realised, this is a whole culture that I've just been chatting this girl up. I ended up staying there for the next 6 months, and we got a foothold in London. God. So that's how me and Andrew got a foothold. But both these in a tiny wee room about as big as this, but it was great, you know. London, you could squat in London in 1980, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
God, that's crazy how it just works out like
It was
that.
lucky. We were just lucky, man.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
Life changer, that girl, though, because...
That's what I mean now, like,
Yeah.
you came about this girl and she basically...
Yeah.
She changed everything, didn't she?
But Helen, I wouldn't be here. You know, what would I be doing in Glasgow? Because I had 1 O-level, I'd be like probably on benefits, and I'd probably been working in building sites my entire life. And now, and at 59, I'd probably be too old to work in a building site.
Do you think it has been like a pot of luck kind of thing? Everything that's happened. No, obviously, a lot of work's gone into it, but do you think a lot of it is down to luck?
Timing in music. Timing's the big thing. Do you know what I mean? Because when I got Oasis in the 90s, I just got them at the right time. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And if you get bands at the right time, they explode. Do you know what I mean?
So I have to ask, obviously, I'm obsessed with Oasis. So how did that come about? So I can say that you were the founder of Oasis, weren't you?
Well, I wasn't the founder of Oasis. I signed the records and I signed the publishing. Do you know what I mean? I was... Up to 2000, I was very involved with them.
Okay. So talk us through how you met them and everything.
Well, it was a fluke, really, you know, as ever, you know. What happened was that I was in Glasgow, and there was a girl from Manchester. She might see this, actually, because we're in Manchester. And her name's Debbie Turner, and she shared a rehearsal room with the Gallaghers. Right. And she brought the Gallaghers up. I didn't know the Gallaghers. I'd met Noel one time at Reading Festival when he was going out with a girl that worked in my record company, and I shook his hand. He wasn't Noel Gallagher, he was Noel the roadie for the Inspiral Carpets with a bowl haircut, right? This was like, that's who he was in 1989. And in 1993, when I wandered in, he was amazing, you know, like he was great. Liam just, well, when I walked into it, I'll tell you the story, Glasgow, the City of Culture Week, and the whole pub that I went to see them in, King Tut's Wawa Hut, was about it was as if it was in slow motion. So I went in to see my two bands playing and see Debbie's band, and I got presented with this band we're going to play called Oasis, and I was like, all right, okay. And I looked over and Liam was sitting on a couch, and he just looked like a great looking version of George Harrison in an Adidas blue tracksuit. I was 20 or 19 or 20 years old. I looked absolutely stunningly great and just looked at a rock star. Yeah. But me being cynical, I just thought, well, he's got to be the drug dealer, right? because bands in 1993, they didn't look as good as Liam Gallagher. And then there was a guy that was kind of going bald and everything. And I thought, well, he'll be the singer. And that was Bonehead, right? And then they went on, they played. Noel was great, really good, great guitar playing. And Liam was bang on, right? Like, you know, it wasn't projecting like walking out and stuff like that, but he was just great presence. Yeah. So then I just went up to the sound guy, Mark Coyle, and I said, oh, who's the manager? They don't have a manager. I said, who's the leader of the band? And they went, Noel. And then 10 minutes later, Noel comes over with a wee cassette and says, who are you? And I went, Alan for Creation Records. I went, all right, okay. As I said, I loved it. Do you want a deal? And he was taken aback, and then we just started chatting, and then 20 minutes later, we shook on it, and we said, we're going to do it. And even then, I think he probably thought, this guy's bullshitting, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then 4 or 5 days later, I sent some train tickets up to them to Manchester. They came down, we chatted, and then we shook again, and that was it. We were working with each other, you know.
So were you going everywhere with them?
No, not so much. I went a lot of places. I got sober about 9 months later. I got sober February 94. But the first 9 months I was leading the charge with the Gallaghers, like getting wasted and stuff like that. So
yeah, I have to ask, what was that like?
Oh, that was mad. But I'd been partying for 5, 6, 7 years before that, Helen. Yeah. So like properly crazy partying for Acid House on. I managed. So
you started to simmer out a bit when you came.
Yeah. And then I chilled out because I was out with them a lot. But as I pulled back a little bit, but my relationship with the Gallaghers wasn't really like that with the Primals, because I grew up with Primal Scream with the Oasis. You know, I was, you know, it was fine for me to be sober. It wasn't like a problem, you know.
Cool.
Yeah, it was great though. It was a great journey.
No, I bet it was. I'm still fascinated by it all, that you kind of like that. So I have to ask, who do you manage now? And so who have you managed, or say managed, or what bands have you worked with?
Well, because I never managed Oasis. I signed the records and I signed the publishing.
Yeah.
But in the past, who have I managed? The Libertines, Primal Scream, St. Etienne, Jesus and Mary Chain, House of Love, who else have I managed? Charlatans, Mogwai, Mew. I mean, probably forgot a load of other ones as well, do you know what I mean? But that's ones I can remember. And then the bands I manage now is Happy Mondays, Cast, Black Grape, Las Vegas, Blue Tones.
Do you think, Alan, like, given like the generation that we're in now, would a band like Happy Mondays or Oasis or something like that, like bands like that, would they stand a chance starting out now? Like, in my opinion, I don't think they
so.
would.
I think they would be okay. It's just the world changed. It's when you were picking me up at the station and bringing me here, the world's very, very, it's very, very uptight at the moment. It's particularly politically correct. It's really, do you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like, would they?
I think they would be okay because the music's so good, both these groups. But I think there would be a lot of.
But the stuff surrounding it, obviously.
Liam and Noel and Sean and Bez, they probably, if they were coming through now, they'd probably be upsetting a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But back in the day,
I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
No, that is interesting how, like, it does change. Because I think that's what made it so great. Obviously, the music's fab as well. But without their characters, I just don't think it'd have been the same. Even though the music was great, everything that came along with it, the noise they made.
Did you see Ricky Gervais last night?
No.
He was amazing, man. He was doing the Golden Globes and he was giving it to the Hollywood celebrities and it was really funny. Them. And he was basically going with a mirror. This is what you guys are actually like. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, why have I missed that? See, I don't watch TV. Yeah. This is why I love podcasts, because I feel like people like yourself can come on and talk and just be normal and everything's just, it just flows. Like, TV doesn't really interest me anymore because I feel like everything's guarded and everything's political correct.
Terrible. I mean, I saw it for what it's worth. I saw it on the internet. Do you know what I mean? Coming up the train. Yeah.
No, I'll have to check that out though, because I like something like that. So, I've only just found, I have to admit, I've only just kind of found certain things out. Yeah, man. But, so, Trainspotting, you're involved in the film, aren't you?
Well, no, Irvin's one of my best pals.
Right.
And there's a creation film coming out that I'm supposed to see a rough of next week.
Okay.
And I think it's going to come out in May or June.
Right.
And Irvin has taken my book and made it into a screenplay. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Talk us through your book. Like, how's that gone? When did you do that?
I did the book about 2012, and I wrote the book. And I didn't know if I could write a book, to be honest. I really doubted it.
Did you do it yourself?
Yeah, and then I had an editor.
Right,
who basically made sense of it.
Yeah.
But I talked for hours, and then I took the best, and then I wrote stuff. But it was really gobbledygook the way I wrote it. I couldn't have done it without this guy that edited the whole book.
That's what I did. You kind of like, you need it though, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I put it all down and then badly spelt it. And then he basically went, no, it doesn't, it's not like that. And then he moved that to there. And, but I was amazed that, I was listening to my book because it's just come out as an audio book. And I was just like going, oh, do you know what I mean? It throws you when you hear your own story a little bit. You're like, oh, right, do you know?
No, I can vouch for that, yeah. How come you did the book?
I mean, to be honest, somebody just offered me a load of money. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, I thought, okay, you know what I mean? It was a nice 6-figure sum, and I went, I'll have it.
Why the hell not? Yeah. Not going to turn it down, are you? So, can you talk us through a little bit about how you've built certain bands' names and stuff, like each and every one of them?
I think with any of them, it's all the same story with the way that I do it, really. It's just, and I still do it the same way. When I go and see a band, if I like it, I sign it. I don't look at your social media numbers or anything like that. So if you've got like 200 Instagram followers, I don't care. If I like it, I like it. And I sign you. I don't care about the age. I don't care if you're ugly. It's like, you know, I'll just do it because if I like the music. Do you know what I mean? I've always based my whole thing on that. And then I don't do the music for the cash. You know, I do the music because I love the band.
Yeah.
But what tends to happen is if you really, because I think I've got good taste. I would have to think I probably have, just because I've had some commercial success with my taste. But if I keep mining it, eventually, somehow the success and the commercial thing, it bangs into each other. So, but I don't do it because I think, I'm going to be able to sign this band to a big major company, and I don't do it like that, you know.
Yeah.
I just do it because I like the music.
And you've always done it the same way.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't change it because the reason I won't change it, and people, and it is kind of old-fashioned the way that I do it. You know, like, I'll come and see you live. If I like it, I'll sign you, sort of stuff. You know?
It clearly works, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, because I've had a lot of success doing it.
Yeah.
I don't think I should change.
How long do you think you'll be doing it for, Alan? Like, obviously, it's not an ordinary job, is it?
Yeah,
so.
if I can rock it until I'm 75, I'm going to keep doing it. Because one of my heroes is Seymour Stein, this guy that signed Madonna and you know, all the people in all these people in America, like Talking Heads and Blondie and you know, the Smiths, blah blah blah. And he's ancient. He's just stopped. He's about 75. So I just think if you've got a talent, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's not something you just knock on the head, is it?
Else, Helen.
Yeah.
You know, this is what I do.
It isn't real. Well, it's a job, obviously, but you are genuinely interested in it. It's kind of like, it's like a lifestyle almost, isn't it? Really.
I mean, I just do music, and that's how I define myself. You know what I mean? You know.
Alan, can you tell us a bit more about the 1997 election?
Yeah, well, what happened, Helen, was that I'd had a lot of success from 84, 88, and then I really started selling a lot of records from 90 onwards. And then it got to about 94, 95, and Oasis then became this massive band. We were selling 23 million more than Glories. It became totally mainstream. And I was at Nebworth. I joined the Labour Party. I was always Labour. I'm still Labour, although I struggle with that slightly at the moment because, you know, I wasn't feeling Jeremy Corbyn. I liked the policies, but I just thought he was an unelectable leader. But and I was at a card. Well, I wasn't even a card. I'd paid my membership, and this little guy, and they'd never sent me a card, Helen. And I was 2 years into giving them the 15 quid subscription or whatever it was, right? And this little guy, Darren, I think his name was, came up to me and went, Are you a Labour Party member? I went, yeah. This was at Nebworth backstage. And he went, he goes, we thought it was you because we were looking and we're going, it can't be the same guy. Because most of the music business in the 90s anyway were all Tories. Do you know what I mean? All the people in the music business. So the fact that I was outwardly Labour was totally bonkers. Do you know what I mean? Because maybe not now, you know, 20 years later, but back then, everybody was a Tory.
So did you get stick for that? Because you were like different?
Yeah, I did a bit, but I'll tell you the whole thing. And what happened was they were saying to me, right, we'll get in touch with you now, whatever. And then the Monday after Nebworth, I got a phone call on the answer, not the answer phone, on the tannoy phone in my office. And they went, Margaret McDonough, the General Secretary to the Labour Party for Alan McGee. And we were like, the General Secretary to the Labour Party, that's mad. So I picked up the phone and she went, are you that Alan McGee? And I'm like, yeah, I'm that guy. You haven't sent me my card, right? And she went, we're coming round, we're going to give you your card. And she came round and then she said to me, will you get involved? And I went, well, how do you want me to be involved? And she went, okay. She goes, well, can you get Oasis on Saturday at the youth conference to come and do an acoustic? And Noel he'd just bumped off that. I think it must have been a couple of weeks after Nebworth. He'd come back off that American tour. And remember, well, you're too young, but they kind of almost split up on tour and he came home. So I phoned Noel up and I said, do you want to do this Labour thing? And he went, McGee, I'm shattered. He goes, just give them a gold disc. I went, all right. So I went up to Blackpool at the youth conference and I gave Blair a gold disc on stage and everything like that. And it was like, and basically it was Oasis endorsing Blair. It was massive at the time. It was September 96, Helen. And then after that, we fell in with them. And then I was, you know, they were always on the phone to me, advising them, blah, blah, blah. Then I gave him a donation, you know what I mean? And that blew up in Scotland because it was a Scottish guy, a music business guy, blah, blah, blah. And then they got in, which was incredible. And like, you know, and I was at Royal Festival Hall watching Michael Portillo lose his seat, and we were all cheering and stuff like that. So it was great times. And then they basically said to me, look, we want you on a lot of committees. And I was trying to say no, but I ended up on the Creative Industries Task Force, and I ended up in the Music Industry Task Force. And what ended up happening was that I ended up changing the law, because I'd kind of joined the government by this point, right?
Oh my God. Accidentally, like you do.
Kind of not trying to join the government, but I'd ended up joining the Labour government. And I changed it for musicians for 10 years. It was legislation that, you know, you could be on the dole, but as long as you showed up kind of to your advisor with a guitar, you got 3 or 4 years of benefits without having to be a plumber and stuff like that, which was a massive thing to musicians at the time. Do you know what I mean? You know, so that's kind of how I ended up being involved.
Well, yeah, because that's a massive pressure, isn't it? I suppose for people that are trying to kind of get that break. Like,
we ended up at 10 Downing Street, which we got a lot of shit for. Me and Noel. Supposedly, Noel, he won't admit to it. I don't think he did it, but supposedly, you know, the idea was that he went to Downing Street and done coke in the toilets at the 10 Downing Street reception. I don't think he did it. Do you know what I mean? Personally, I think it's bullshit. Do you know what I mean?
I hope he did.
Yeah. I know, it would be funny now as we're all older. It would be funny if he'd done it, but I don't think he did it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So what's your relationship like now with the Gallaghers? Do you still speak?
I've just been asked. Yeah, I'm not really speak. I text them. Liam's asked me to do Heaton Park, some big what do you call it, DJ thing.
Yeah.
That him, me and his brother Paul and Clint Boone, I think, are all doing it. So I'm supposedly doing that for Liam in June up in Manchester.
Yeah.
And then Noel, I speak to Noel all the time by text. Do you know what I mean? You know.
So
good friends.
Do you think
I'm friends with them both? You know.
You've what?
I'm still friends with them both.
That was so nice. What are they like as people? Like, obviously, you see Liam in interviews. I absolutely love him on Twitter. He's so entertaining. What are they like? Is some of it kind of a performance? Is it a front, or is that actually what they're like?
No, that's what they're like.
I love that.
Do you know what? They're not that unlike you, man. But I don't know you that well. But
I like them.
I talk to you quite a lot on the internet, and it's like, you know how you'll just say something and go, "That's what I think it is, Alan." Yeah, that's what they're both like. They'll just say what they think. Do you know what I mean?
Is it the same with the Happy Mondays, like Bez and Sean Ryder?
Yeah, you're quite like Bez. Bez just says what he thinks as well. Sean's a slightly bit more guarded. Bez will just go, "Oh no, Alan." You know what I mean? Oh, that's what I like the most.
He's so lovable. Like when you watch him,
they're both good guys.
Yeah, but I think the golden question is: do you ever think they'd ever get back together?
I don't think so. Just because,
really,
not at the moment anyway. I mean,
I'm going to Glasgow, and I'm like,
no,
I just really hope that happens.
I don't think it'll be next year. They've offended each. Well, you know, Liam's offended Noel quite bad. You know what I mean? So, I want them to make up because I like them both. They're both good guys.
How did you feel when they split up? That's like I
couldn't believe it.
Really?
Because I tell you what it's like, Helen, right? See these big bands like Metallica and all these big bands, they hate each other. They all hate each other, right?
Really?
Oh, yeah. Because at a certain level with these big bands, right, there's so much money. They're not really bands anymore. They're businesses.
Yeah.
So, and Oasis had become a business. So for them to break up, it just says they are, I swear, no. They are totally real. I was going to say effing real. They're totally real people.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody at that level, when they're doing these shows and, you know, at the very least doing arenas for 1.5 million a night, but big festivals, 6 figures all the whole time, and they can do 40, 50 in a summer. It's crazy money, man.
It is crazy.
You don't break bands up like that. None of these bands do it. Do you know what I mean? And they all hate each other.
Were you upset when they split up?
I was amazed they'd actually done it because they were going to be our no, your generation, your kid, but my generation, Stones. We just thought that was going to go on forever, and they they broke up. And I kind of love them for breaking up, but I wish they would get back, you know.
Yeah.
Clever, man.
Oh, that's nice. So you'd love them to get back together as well?
Yeah, of course I would. That'd be great. But I mean, it'd be more important, I'd love them to be brothers, do you know what I mean?
So Liam does talk sometimes about it. He's uploaded a few things on Twitter. You're not on Twitter, are you?
No.
So he's uploaded a couple of things. I don't know whether it's him just trying to wind Noel up or whatever, but he does upload stuff saying like, trying to encourage Noel to do things like with the family and stuff, and he just never ever responds at all. Do you think he's just? Is he like just the annoying brother? Like they are very different in that way, aren't they?
They're both good guys. They're just like
I do love how he winds them up though.
And there's like two massive egos.
Yeah,
and, you know what I mean?
Is that what it is? It's just a clash.
Yeah, I mean it's always been like that, but now they're a bit older and. I mean, just people, man,
It's true. As you get older, you kind of, everything just changes, doesn't it? What would you say, like, was the up and down stages of, like, throughout your whole career, what was, like, so working with the bands, was there anything that kind of sticks in your mind that was, like, a really low point or whatever? Obviously, that's if you want to talk about it, but...
I think when I got I overdosed in America, and I ended up in Cedars-Sinai Hospital, and then I ended up back in Glasgow, and I remember this is August 94, and I remember like wanting to almost kill myself. I was that depressed. I was in this tiny wee house in Renfrew in Glasgow, and I was just going, I hated the music business. I went really, really negative.
How old would you?
33, just a wee bit older than you, and the answer phone in my house came on, and somebody goes, "Alan, Oasis are number one," you know what I mean? And I was like fucking getting the answer machine fucking thrown it in the garden. I was so angry somebody had intruded in my life, you know what I mean? Which even makes that day a wee bit funnier as well, Helen. I was so depressed. I was really, really thinking about fucking ending it. I mean, it was mad. I had Oasis. And I went to church that day to try and save myself, right? And then I was like lying there going, the church didn't work, and then suddenly Oasis are number one, and I was thinking, God, maybe I should go to church more often. My first number one, do you know what I mean?
Oh, but I shouldn't be laughing, but that is funny at the same time. So that is really low, and especially when you've got like, well, to me that seemed like everything was around you, that everything's going great, and it just goes to show, even when things do seem like everything's rosy, people do feel crap.
Well, that would have been the low point, and then I suppose the up point is just being with my kids, really, to be honest. You know what I mean? It's like when my daughter was born, and she's 19, and that was incredible. Do you know what I mean? Like this wee girl that I love, and then my son, who I was telling you about, that I never saw him for 16 years. And then I met my son, and that was like mind blowing as well. That's a big thing, yeah. So I think your kids, they've got to be your highlights, really. Ultimately.
Of course, yeah.
See, the thing about these things now, Helen, we talk loads and go, "Oh, how you doing?" Blah blah blah. Yeah. So you have on your phone. It's the world's changed. It's like I was booking hotels. I was like talking to you. I was like booking trains. I was moving money around. It's like. The world totally changed. It's all on your phone.
Everything's convenient now, isn't it?
And music's changed. Do you know what I mean? It's like, everything's just, it's a different thing,
Alan, what's your opinion on like today's music? Because I love old music. I'm a massive kind of like grew up on Oasis and stuff like that. I love the Stones, the Beatles. They're all that's all music that I listen to. Yeah. So I personally can't stand what the music's turning into.
Some of it's okay though.
But
Billie Eilish is good.
Yeah. But I think there's just so much rubbish out there as well. So like, what's your opinion? What do you think like the future is for music and stuff?
I think it's a bit like what I was saying about the phone, Helen. The world's just, it's become very instant. Do you know what I mean? And what's interesting about being old, right? I can remember all the revolutions since glam rock in 71, do you know what I mean? Then punk rock, then post-punk, then acid house.
You've seen all you've literally seen
it's just, and they keep going,
They're just all the best ones.
And now the revolutions are more like the Instagram revolution. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's kind of like You know,
see, that guts me. I wish I would love to.
But you're part of the Instagram revolution.
No, I know.
And
I wish I
fans.
hadn't been, because I've always said that I'd love to have been like a 70s child. Like I'd love to have grown up in the 70s. Sorry. Yeah. I think the generations that you've been through are like, I think they're the best. I don't think anything's going to compare to. I'd say like Oasis and stuff, like around that time. I think they were the very last kind of.
Do you know what? So we don't drift off this point. Is the thing about. The maddest bit about me is I'm still curious and interested in younger people like you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm with music.
I like how you keep saying younger, Alan. Botox is working.
But I am interested in that. And see, I think what happens when people get to my age, I'm 59, I get my bus pass next year, right? And the truth is, they give in.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't want to say anything bad about my pals because I love them, but a few of my friends have just like, I'm happy, just, do you know what I mean? Practically being a recluse.
You are like, so Alan told me in the car how old he was, and I was really shocked because I just didn't think you were that old. But it's kind of like you're just not going to give up. You're not going to like.
I'm going to keep going. Because I've got the music thing.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep doing it.
It's keeping you young. Would you agree it's keeping you young?
Mentally anyway, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because it's keeping you on your toes, isn't it? Who are you who are you kind of in charge of at the minute? Like, where are you going now?
I need to sign another couple of new acts to revamp the management company, because Mondays are like going to take a break after we're doing Isle of Wight, and then they're taking a break for a bit, and I need to sign a couple of new things up. But I'm into the record company. Danny Boyle's done my book with Irvin Welsh. So that's going to come out this year. And then I'm going to do some more Q&As, you know, and I love doing that. And yeah, I mean, I don't really know where it's going. Not really, you know, but that's kind of okay.
Almost like winging it.
Yeah, right, a little bit. I've always been like that, Helen. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
So I think that's the best way to be, especially like in an industry like yours. I don't think you could have, like, obviously some of it's got to be structured, but I think it's just chance, isn't it, and timing and everything, and whatever takes your...
Absolutely. Sometimes you just bump into somebody and they phone you up the next week and go, do you want to be my manager? And, you know, and that's like, you're like, oh, right. And that's happened a lot of times in my life. Do you know, that you just run into somebody.
Am I allowed to ask this? Who's like the most difficult person you've ever worked with?
Yeah, Pete Doherty.
Really?
And look, don't get me wrong, an amazing talent, but it was very, very difficult. Because when I picked him up, Helen, they were kind of failing, ultimately. It was about 2003, the end of 2003. It was Libertines, and the record had stiffed at 35 in the album charts. The record company was in for about $500,000, and then the record company phoned me up and said, you're the only person that can manage this, blah, blah, blah. And I foolishly got involved in it, do you know what I mean? You know, but and
like politics.
And then we sold 1 million records, do you know what I mean?
Wow.
And so I blew it up, but I couldn't.
How do you rescue that? So you come in and like you kind of like rescue it.
Well,
How do you do that?
Story. I'll tell you. You'll love some of this story, right?
Right.
So what happened was that it was about 2003, summer of 2003, and Pete had just burgled Carol, his band partner's house, and he was trying to set up the Baby Shambles, and he went, McGee, I want you to be my manager, just out the blue. I didn't even know him. I think I did know him a little bit. I'd been to the Libertines studio. They'd asked me down to say hello to them. But I wasn't the manager or anything. I said, do you want to manage the Baby Shambles? And I didn't. I was more interested in the Libertines, but they had a manager, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't think too much more of it. And then basically I got a phone call. I was in America working with Joaquin Phoenix, you know, the film guy who loves his music. So I was in the studio doing music with Joaquin Phoenix. And I got a phone call and going, Pete's in prison, blah, blah, blah. And he'd got 6 months or 4 months, I can't remember what he got, but he got a bit of time. And I went, all right, okay. And then I was still with Joaquin in America, and then they phoned me up and went, we're having a Pete Doherty get out party. You're getting out of prison party. Come back, McGee. And by the way, the manager's resigned and we want you to be the manager, right? This is not even the boys, this is the record company. And I was like, no way, I'm in London, I'm in New York, I'm happy over here. But 2 or 3 weeks later, I end up going into a meeting with him in the Landmark Hotel, and it was me, Carol and Pete. and they were at each other's throats, and I was just trying to get in and get out and just be charming, but refuse to do it. But because they're so brilliant, these two guys, I thought, God, maybe I should just do it. So I ended up becoming the manager, right? And I had to have an immediate plan. They were like, what are we going to do? After I'd said yes. And I went, come to my house in Wales, because I hadn't moved into that place yet.
Right.
And we'll write the second album. So we drive down, Helen, on the Monday. And then on the Wednesday, I'm going to my bed in my room. And they're playing Don't Look Back in Anger. I thought, that's nice, right? But the boys are playing Oasis, whatever, right? And I woke up the next day, and somebody's coming down the stairs. And I'm like, I'm on the phone to the office. It's 10:05 in the morning, and out of peripheral vision, it looks as if the other guy, the Carol Barat, it looks as if he's poured tomato ketchup all over his head, right? Helen, I hope you're not too sensitive here. Right? And I look like that. His eyes hanging out on the optical nerve, twitching like that.
Shut up.
So I get a baby wipe and I put his eye back in his head.
What?
And I'm walking about with Carol like that, and Doherty's in a room, and I'm secretly thinking, I bet he fucking done it, right? So I'm like wondering. But anyway, Carol goes, no, I headbutted the sink, McGee, right? So anyway, I'm holding it with that.
On purpose, or?
Yeah, he's a self-harmer. Right? I don't think anymore, but he was a self-harmer. So I take him to Brecon Hospital, and they go, it's too serious, he's going to lose his eye. Take him to Hereford Hospital, right? And so I walk in with this, he's a beautiful looking kid. So I'm walking in like this 42-year-old guy looks like this a long time ago, right? And Carol, who's at 24, 25, right? And they look at me and go, what have you done to your boyfriend? Right. So I was like, he's not my boyfriend. I'm his manager, right? And they're like, anyway, Carol goes in and goes, he's my manager, blah, blah, blah. Give me the operation. And they treat him for 6 hours, Helen. I've only been managing the band 3 days at this point. And,
my God.
And what they do is they save his eye, right? But what we don't know is they've sewed it in, but they've sewed it in wrong. Right, so I've now, the next week, I rest him up in my house and I have to take him to, what's that hospital? Great Portland Street Hospital, right? And it cost me $8,000 to take his eye out and put it in right. So
what
anyway,
do you mean it was in wrong? What was it doing? Seeing upside down?
No, the National Health, I love the National Health, literally, it saved my life about 3 years ago. But no, they just had to take it out and re-put it in. Supposedly it's difficult, I would imagine.
And this is 3 days after you
3 days into managing the Libertines. This wasn't even Doherty, do you know what I mean? So then I put them in the studio, get them at the guy for the Clash in, Mick Jones. We make the record. It's brutally great, right? It's a great record. We know we're going to have a big hits. And it blows up. I mean, I could go into the whole how I blew it up with the gigs and everything, but that's essentially, we just blew them up. And then Pete was out of control. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he's out of control at this point, but he was out of control. And
how old is he now?
I think he's about 40. You know
is he?
Yeah, but he was a kid back then. He was at 22, 23, you know what I mean?
That's how I've always kind of known him to be. He's like just like mental, really.
But it was so it would have to be Peter. Do you know what I mean? You know?
Yeah.
We ended up making them big, but I probably the only thing I did wrong, right, was that I thought he was going to die because at the point that I tried to send him into rehab, we're in this little. It was John Richmond backstage at the Café de Paris, and there was a mirror, and instead of walking out the door, he walked straight into the mirror and fell down the mirror. And I was like, he's going to rehab. And if I had just been a bit more of a twat about it, I just went, do you know what? Go and tour. You know, you'd probably. I think Pete. It'd take a lot to kill Pete. We should have just milked it, probably. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't even see what I mean. Like, it's like never ending. You've just done so.
Well, I tell you
I'll
tell you the trick that we did when we got them, how we flipped it into being a big band. And to convince people, I suppose it'd be interesting to hear people that do it. So when I signed them, and after I'd put Carol's eye back in his head, right, I'd put 3, it was called the Town and Country Club, but it's now called the Forum, 3 forums on sale, because the Libertines had a huge internet following, right?
Right.
And I thought there's probably 6,000 fans that will come from all over Britain to see the Libertines. So I put 3 shows on sale. True enough, we sold 6,000 tickets. Probably most of the audience came twice, but we sold the tickets. So the media in London were like, that's quite big. So we got to the end of December 2003. We'd done 3 sold out 2,000 capacities a night, right? Right after that, I put 3 Brixton Academies on sale. Now, this is massive now. This is what really, really big bands do. And that's like 3 nights at Brixton's 5,000 people a night, so it's 15,000 tickets. And we sold that. And at that point, we took the record that I just made in the studio with them to radio, and we had a hit record.
That's amazing.
That's how we done it. That's how we done it.
So, if you were to sign a band now, you did say that you're looking for a couple more. What are you looking for? Has it ever changed what you are looking for?
I want to sign a couple of management acts, you know, so I'd probably be looking for established acts to work with. And then with I'm signing a lot of girls up to my little 7-inch label at the moment. I've signed this Cat SFX. She's about your age, modelly girl, but she's got the tunes. She's been writing pop hits for people.
Yeah.
And I'm signing her. I'm signing this. It was quite funny. It's like this girl called Amanda. She's in Sister Psychosis, and she was quite a big tour manager. She's only about 24, 25, and she had a meeting. Which was sneaky. She had a meeting with me about tour management, and then she suddenly went, "Do you want to hear my music?" I was like, "You freak! You've been talking to me for about an hour about tour management." And she went, put it in, and then she had a tune. I went, "All right, I'll put your tune out." You know. So it's just. I mean, I'm just open to anything, really.
Yeah. Just whatever comes along. Really.
I'm trying to literally. I love the fact that the world's becoming less misogynistic. I love that. So I'm trying to do my little bit by signing more women. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the world's become a lot more even now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think it was 20 years ago, but it is now.
Did you never used to work with women?
Yeah, I've had hits with women. I mean, like St. Etty and Sarah Cracknell. I had this band Ruby that was massive in America, like Leslie Rankin. I've had hits with women. But I'm now actively, consciously going, you know what I mean? I think if a woman comes up with a good tune and a man comes up with a good tune, I'll probably sign the woman. I'm trying to shove it that way a little bit.
That's good. That's like really interesting.
I think, and I'm not making a big deal about it, but I'm open to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good. So we've had some stories about the Libertines. We've had some stories about Pete Doherty. Yeah. I think everyone is mainly obsessed with the Gallaghers that's going to be watching. So can you give us a story like about Noel or Liam?
Yeah. Well, not that many not that many stories that can actually really tell. Do you know what I mean? Because they're too mad, right?
Yeah.
But one of them was quite funny. So they got really, really big, and it was between Definitely Maybe and What's the Story, Morning Glory, and I'd ended up in what was that place? Ronnie Scott's with Liam.
Oh yeah.
And some other band that had been playing. And Liam ended up attacking the singer, and we had to break it all up. And I had to stop the fight with securities and all this sort of stuff, right? And we ended up in the street, and he was giving me it. There's a famous picture that we're outside Ronnie Scott's, and he goes, "Oh, like that." But what nobody knows is he was just calling me every twat under the sun. He was just caning me, right? So eventually I went, "Oh, let's go to some gentleman's club, get him off the street," right?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in some club with him for about 2 hours, Helen, and he's just in my face going, "You don't like my band." I'm like, "I do like your band, some million records," giving me it, right? I thought, oh God. So the next day I had a lunch with him and his manager, Marcus Russell, right? I was kind of reticent about it. I was like, "Oh, do I really have to do this? Oh God," you know. It's the biggest thing in music. It's the biggest thing I've got. So we go on, and luckily he's friendly towards me, and he's like, "Oh, all right, Al," and I was like, "Oh, thank you," right. So we're sitting down, and he goes, and obviously this was the peace offering, right? And he goes to me, "You and me should go and see the Dalai Lama," and I was like, "No, I'm not going." And he went, "You're scared." And I went, "I'm not scared." And he went, "You're scared." "I'm not scared." And he went, "You're fucking scared." And I went, "I'm going," right? And so he goes, "Get us 2 tickets." And he goes, "Arrange to meet the Dalai Lama." And he goes, "None of that fucking Brian Epstein stuff between me and you." And I went, "No, I'm not gay." Right? So anyway, there was a shot that you used to get called Larium, right? That would send half the people that took it, or a percentage of the people who took it sent you mad, right? Ah. And I was really reticent about doing the Larium shot, and I was like, and people would go, "No, you'll be all right." Like, really? And just when I was going to get the Larium shot, like 2 hours before, about 2 weeks later, he phones up and he goes, "Ow!" He goes, I can't go and see the Dalai Lama. Patsy won't let me. And it was safe for the Larium. That's just Liam.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, that's just Liam. He's a good guy.
Why was he like shouting in your face though? Was that just like...
Probably in coke. Just you know what I mean? It's just Liam.
I love it. It's just so weird listening to it. Yeah. Like you've been like so like... Not personal sounds wrong. Well, no, it is. It was personal, weren't it? You were like with them a long time. Alan, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so grateful you come down. Well, come up, sorry. Yeah. And have a great holiday tomorrow as well.
I will do. Barbados.
I know, you jammy sod.